This is the Analysis in Change with Nathan Williams and Neil Kieran.
Welcome to Analysis in Chains. I'm Nathan Williams, coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. How you doing, Neil?
I'm doing good, Nathan. I'm doing good. Can't deny it's been a rough week in crypto. How have you been feeling it?
I turn around for 2 seconds. I leave the continent for 2 seconds, and everything just falls to the floor. It's all my fault. It's all my fault.
Yeah, it's been a rough week. You're not quite Craig Wright, I have to admit, but I wouldn't really put it on your shoulders. It has been a rough week, but I think there's really two factors here. First of all, Bitcoin Cash hard fork. A lot of things were said, and that brought out fear to the market. And now two coins do exist. We had this big talk of a fight to the death, but it never really played out that way. But I think that fear was enough to kind of hit Bitcoin so much that the miners capitulated. And that's what you're seeing right now. Hash rate is just plummeting. All these miners with a lot of money invested in Bitcoin are getting out, they're liquidating. I think that's what's really, causing everything to crash right now.
Well, I think it's more than just the miners, right? Like, I think that there's been enough uncertainty in the market that a lot of maybe the old guard, the people that have been holding and hodling since hodl was a thing, are starting to think, hey, maybe I should diversify. Maybe I should, get some money out. And now is probably as good a time as any. But I still can't shake the feeling that there's some market manipulation going on at the same time, that it's not just pure FUD or pure negative speculation or Bitcoin Cash, that there's something else at play, like bigger players attempting to push the market in one direction or the other.
Well, yeah, in a way you do have a point. Because what we're seeing in world markets is a lot of fear. So imagine if you have a diversified portfolio and you have stocks in emerging markets and USA, and now you're starting to get a bit scared and you're thinking, okay, how does my portfolio look? Well, because I've held crypto for 2-3 years, it now makes up 20% my portfolio because it's increased so much. And now some people could be diversifying, maybe sell some crypto, so it's back down to maybe 5% of their portfolio. So some of those whales could be making those big decisions because they want to be more liquid markets. They want to protect their portfolio going into 2019 because things could get more unpredictable. And we've seen it with financial markets in the last few weeks. So while we would like to think crypto and normal fiat markets are two separate things and uncorrelated, maybe some of the fear from fiat markets is creeping in to crypto, and it is, as you say, possibly scaring away some whales.
But what I find to be an encouraging factor of this is that it really hasn't dampened the enthusiasm of people who are making longer term blockchain investments. So, for example, the investment funds that are investing in blockchain infrastructure projects and not just tokens only, or corporates, for example, who are making large investments themselves in blockchain development. So I think that the recognition that blockchain is the future is still very much alive. But what we're seeing now is a shift toward more traditional equity finance, more traditional startup financing, and a little less of the speculative crypto token only route.
Yeah, I would agree somewhat. One thing I do notice was a crypto Bitcoin hype cycles is that usually in the hype cycle, Bitcoin loses its dominance and over time, and then when fear creeps in, and while Bitcoin is dropping in price, it actually increases in dominance. And what we've seen in the last few weeks, even though Bitcoin's been dropping in price and so has a lot of crypto, usually you would see more people, you usually see Bitcoin dominance increase during a period, but hasn't been the case. Going back to your point, a lot of these crypto projects that are still in the background, still developing, are actually improving compared to Bitcoin price. And so that's why we haven't seen Bitcoin dominance, rise too much during this period of FUD. So actually seeing so many good projects out there actually improving against Bitcoin because there's still so much enthusiasm out there for certain projects. For example, if you look at Stellar Lumens, that's actually been killing Bitcoin's backside for the last few weeks because the network is still very, very strong and the belief is still there. One I've been following the last few weeks is Quark Chain. Started developing its testnet now. And while its price has gone down relative to Bitcoin, it's actually been increasing. So I think people need to, realize that it isn't just that crypto is falling apart. I think it's more just of a Bitcoin correction as opposed to a crypto crash.
And I think what we're also seeing is just how vulnerable the big coins are to politics. I mean, everyone is looking to leaders at this point. You have large interests who have invested a lot of money in mining architecture, who are following one leader or following a different one. And we're seeing sort of the effect of the re-centralization. I mean, it's not really so much a centralization around, one trusted entity or a regulated market, but more around almost nation states of crypto miners who are all vying to have their say or to control power in Bitcoin. And it's not something that anyone really expected at the beginning. Everyone sort of thought, well, Bitcoin is the future, individuals will mine, but it's something that the crypto market will have to deal with. And honestly, I mean, we've been talking about that very factor for over a year now, but this is the first really major correction that we've seen as a consequence of it.
Well, maybe this is why Ripple is number 2 now. So the whole the whole proof of work mining system, I guess really is up for questioning. Like it does have merit, but maybe it just needs some refinement to improve the decentralization characteristics of a whole blockchain system.
I'm still a believer, I'm still very bullish on the decentralization aspect of crypto. I think that these new geopolitics and the United Nations of crypto is just something we're going to have to deal with as a community and get over this initial greed of how can I control absolutely everything crypto and be the next billionaire.
I agree. So I think going forward, for me, what I'm going to be looking out for is how is proof of work crypto doing since this crash, and all those looking to implement proof of stake and other alternatives, will they do better? So this is what I think is going to be a very interesting story going into 2019.
And also, what are the trade-offs? I mean, every crypto algorithm will have its own trade-off. Proof of work trades efficiency and electricity for theoretical decentralization and potential politics as it grows. But proof of stake ends up having the issue of the rich get richer. So everything comes with a cost. Nothing's free.
Yeah, well, I guess you could say the same about proof of work. In a way, the rich do get richer there as well. But
damn it, I don't like that. But maybe I would like it more if I was one of the rich.
Yeah, but I unfortunately, I believe this is what is happening. The rich is getting richer in proof of work because, hey, if you were a miner from the early days and now you've made, millions thanks to Bitcoin, well, it's just easier to reinvest that in more, say, ASIC miners or whatever in order to, build up your operations. And when we look at, if you look at new crypto, bringing new ideas, there is that opportunity to kind of start from afresh. And, I like that. But at the same time, they're not as decentralized in this. What I mean is the network is not as robust as something like Bitcoin. So that's the sort of the problem there.
Yeah, there may yet be room for new crypto algorithms that can start fresh, but for another proof of work or even sort of a modified version of Bitcoin, I think that ship has probably sailed. There's too many computers out there, too many people with their eyes on crypto that you could start a small proof of work chain, grow it without being vulnerable to a 51% attack, I think, nowadays.
Yeah, no, you're probably right, but I guess the sort of naive crypto enthusiast in me just wants to see more ideas out there challenging Bitcoin. And I feel that now that it's vulnerable, now's a good time to see new ideas emerge.
You're probably right. And probably the way that it can happen is not necessarily with a completely trustless system like Bitcoin was envisioned to be, where every individual is going at the crypto mining, but maybe via taking into account these consortiums or these mining pools or these groups from the get-go and thinking, well, how can I get these certain groups to work in harmony as opposed to how can I get individuals with PCs and CPUs and GPUs and hopefully no ASICs to run. Because I think, let's be honest, I think Monero has that covered at this point.
Well, the thing is, Nathan, if it was that easy, we'd have world peace. And I think I think everything you just mentioned is what every politician in this planet is going through. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but I believe this is going to be one of the main narratives for 2019.
And if you want to continue that narrative, you should join our Telegram channel. Visit Analysis in Chains on Telegram. Did I forget anything, Neil?
No, that's it. You nailed it.
All right. So have a great week. And we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.